हेलो एंड वेलकम एवरीवन। आई होप आप सब अच्छे होंगे। तो हैप्पी संडे। आज उतना ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट आर्टिकल है नहीं हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर से, तो चलिए वन बाय वन देख लेते हैं। पहला जो आर्टिकल है, आदित्य एल1 लिफ्ट्स ऑफ टू स्टडी द सन। कल 11:30 को लिफ्ट ऑफ किया गया उसे। सॉरी। नेक्स्ट जो है, ऑपरेशन गजा साइंस स्पॉटलाइट ऑन चित्तौड़ कुमकिस। ये 6 नंबर पेज का आर्टिकल है। एंड नेक्स्ट है G20 सरपास टू सीट फॉर फाइनल राउंड ऑफ प्री समिट नेगोशिएशंस फ्रॉम टुडे। ये पेज 8 का है। 3/4 ऑफ इंडियाज इरिगेशन सोर्सेज रन ऑन इलेक्ट्रिसिटी। तो नेक्स्ट में प्रज्ञा completed its task, rover safely parked and set into sleep mode, says ISRO। प्रज्ञा completed its task, जितने भी सारे टास्क था वो कंप्लीट हो गया। रोवर सेफली पार्क्ड एंड सेट इनटू स्लीप मोड। ओके, तो ओवर हाफ ऑफ श्रीलंकन पीपल वल्नरेबल अकॉर्डिंग टू यूएनडीपी, है ना। So using AI on X-rays can detect more TB cases. Using AI on X-ray can detect more TB cases. तो पहला जो है, आदित्य एल1 लिफ्ट्स ऑफ टू स्टडी द सन। ISRO's workhorse PSLV takes off from Sriharikota at 11:50 am in one of its longest flight. It launches the spacecraft in an orbit around Earth. इंडियाज फर्स्ट लूनर सोलर ऑब्जर्वेटरी मिशन आदित्य एल1, ये फर्स्ट मतलब सोलर ऑब्जर्वेटरी है मिशन, was launched by Indian Space Research Organization ISRO on Saturday. The Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle PSLV in its 59th flight, ये वाला जो फ्लाइट था वो 59th फ्लाइट विथ आदित्य एल1 ऑन बोर्ड took off from Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota at 11:50 am. Sorry, 11:30 बोल दिया था मैंने। 11:50 am. About 60 minutes after takeoff, the separation from the satellite took place with PSLV launching the Aditya L1 spacecraft in a highly eccentric orbit around the Earth at 12:53 pm. This was among the longest flights of ISRO's workhorse launch vehicle in recent times. ये सबसे longest ही है। Following the launch, Aditya L1 will stay in orbit around the Earth for 16 days. अर्थ के ऑर्बिट में 16 दिन तक ये रहेगा। During which it will undergo 5 maneuvers to gain the necessary velocity for its long journey towards the sun. Subsequently, Aditya L1 will undergo a trans-Lagrangian 1 insertion maneuver, making the beginning of its 110-day trajectory to the destination around the L1 Lagrange point. Upon arrival at L1 point, another maneuver binds Aditya L1 to an orbit around L1, a balanced gravitational location between the Earth and the Sun. The spacecraft will perform orbital maneuvers by using its liquid apogee motor (LAM) liquid apogee motor (LAM) engine to reach L1. Aditya L1 will stay approximately 1.5 million kilometers away from Earth, directed towards the Sun. ये अर्थ से 1.5 मिलियन किलोमीटर अवे से रहेगा और फेस कहाँ पर करेगा ना, सन की तरफ करेगा, which is about 1% of the Earth Sun distance. Aditya L1 has a mission life of 5 years, during which Its payloads are expected to provide the most crucial information to understand the problem of coronal heating. Okay. Its payloads are expected to provide most crucial information to understand the problem of coronal heating, coronal mass ejection, pre-flare and flare activities and their characteristics, dynamics of space weather, and propagation of particles and fields. The seven payloads on board Aditya L1 are visible emission line coronagraph (VELC), solar ultraviolet imaging telescope suite (VELC suite), solar low energy X-ray spectrometer (SOLEX), high energy L1 orbiting X-ray spectrometer Hell-1OS, then Aditya Solar Wind Particle Experiment Aspects, then Plasma Analyzer Package for Aditya Papa, and advanced triaxial high resolution digital magnetometers. The solar panels on Aditya L1 have been deployed and the spacecraft has started generating power. After launch, ISRO chairperson S. Somnath said the Aditya L1 spacecraft has been injected in an elliptical orbit of 235 km by 19,500 km, which is as intended very precisely by the PSLV. This is a very unique mission. From now, the Aditya L1 will make its journey. After some maneuvers, it will start its journey toward the L1 point. It is a very strong journey of almost 125 days. The first maneuver to raise its orbit is scheduled on Sunday around 11:45 am. The next जो है ऑपरेशन गजा. ऑपरेशन गजा shines a spotlight on Chittor's Komkis. 193 Ramapuram is a non-descript village in the Gudipala mandal of Andhra Pradesh Chittor district, close to the boundary with Tamil Nadu. It made headlines on the dawn of August 30 when a lone wild elephant in Most trampled a farmer coupled to death, critically injured three other villagers and killed about 10 head of cattle. A few hours before it was captured on August 31st, the wild elephant had trampled a woman farmer at Budinatham village near Katpadi in Tamil Nadu. Before re-entering Chittor district, the Jambu continued to wreak terror in a dozen villages on the Chittor-Tamil Nadu boundary till the evening of August 31st. The lone elephant, considered very dangerous by the forest department, had made its way to the thin forest range of Gudipala Mandal, straying from its habitat in Maharaja Kodai forest of Tamil Nadu, 140 km away, crisscrossing jungle patches and fields along the way. A team of forest officials from Chittor rushed to Ramapuram village. About 100 personnel, including watchers, animal trackers, and beat officers from 6 ranges in Chittor and Tirupati district were deployed for Operation Gaja to subdue the lone elephant on a rampage. Bro Network. Kumki's trained elephants Jayantha and Vinayak from the Nanial Forest Camp at Ramakuppam in the Kuppam Forest Range were brought in special vehicles. The search for wild elephants continued from morning till late at night on Wednesday, but without success. By daybreak on Thursday, rumors spread that an elephant had killed a woman farmer at the Budinetham village a few kilometers away in Tamil Nadu, confirming its location to somewhere within a radius of 5 kilometers. Within a radius of 5 kilometers. Forest Department officials then deployed a drone camera from Tirupati. After a 5-hour aerial survey, the elephant was found on a sugarcane field. The two Kumkis, led by the highly experienced Mahouts, jumped into action for a couple of hours. The wild Jambu desperately tried to get away from the forest personnel and pushing Kumkis. Finally, when the exhausted elephant was standing under a tree, a tranquilizer that was shot at it. In a few minutes, the two Kumkis had accomplished their task. The sedated Tuskar was captured. Slowly and steadily, with its head bent, the bull elephant followed the Kumkis. After a medical examination, the captured elephant was shifted to a truck which made its way to the SB Zoo Park in Tirupati, 80 kilometers away. Bidding adieu to the forest personnel and trumpeting a call of assurance to villagers, Vinayak and Jayantha boarded their vehicles and returned to their camp. Forest officials and villagers gave full credit to the trained Jambus for their critical role in Operation Gaja. Then next G20 surpassed to seat for final round of pre-summit negotiations from today. The Sherpas of all G20 countries arrived in New Delhi ahead of the final week of negotiations for the summit next week, and India's representative among them said he was confident of consensus on economic issues. Meanwhile, government sources sought to play down the impact that the absence of at least three leaders, the president of Russia, China, and Mexico, will have on the summit's outcomes. The Sherpas and the Soz Sherpas, who are the chief negotiator for the G20 leaders, will meet from September 3 to 6 on the outskirts of Delhi at a resort near Manesar to decide on the content of the joint communique to be released at the end of the 18th G20 summit on September 9 and 10. Speaking about the intensive virtual decisions in the run-up to the final week, India's G20 Sherpa Amitabh Kant, who disclosed earlier that talks have taken place from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. for the past few weeks, said he was confident of forging joint statements on economic issues, indicating there is no breakthrough on the issue of her Ukraine. Voice of Global South: We will achieve consensus on all growth and development issues and on all priorities. We are positive, constructive, ambitious, and will be balanced. Our declaration will speak the voice of the global south, from where most of the global growth will come from in the next 2 decades, he told the Hindu on Saturday. If they fail to come to a consensus, which has eluded G20 ministerial meetings thus far, mainly over the paragraph on Ukraine, they will turn the task over the leaders. Most of whom will arrive in India by September 8, with the three exceptions, while Russian President Vladimir Putin had directly conveyed his inability to attend the summit. Owing to the conflict in Ukraine, to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a telephone call last week, Mexican President Andres Obrador He is seeking to practice as he has not attended a single G20 summit since he was elected and has deputed his economy minister to attend in his place. Chinese President Xi Jinping has not publicly declared his intention to stay away from the summit but has not confirmed his attendance either. Officials said it is unlikely that he will come in today's world with so many demands on the leader's time. It is not always possible for every leader to attend every summit, official sources said. On background, in a written response to media reports about the absence of some countries at the heads of government levels. From time to time, many leaders keep summits for their own reason. These things do not reflect anything about the host country, they added in the response, pointing out that at least six leaders did not attend the Rome G20 summit in 2021. Multiple differences. Meanwhile, the chief task ahead of Sherpa and finance track team over the next few days will be forging the joint statement or leaders declaration which every G20 summit thus far has been able to issue. Diplomatic sources said negotiations over the past 2 months have hit roadblocks on the other issues beside Ukraine, such as the figures in billions or trillions on climate financing to be contributed by developed countries. Russia, China, and Saudi Arabia have opposed the imposition of carbon emission peaking decarbon, sorry, deadlines by the G7 countries. There are differences between the developed countries and developing nations over the language on increasing representation of the global south on the boards of international financial institutions like the World Bank. The sources said that the G7 had also opposed language on condemning the disrespect and or destruction of religious texts or sacred books, and the and as the Hindu has reported, China objected to Indian additions on millets lifestyle for environment and the use of the Sanskrit phrase Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The next way, three-fourths of the India's irrigation sources run on electricity. Electrification of groundwater withdrawal corresponds to a rise in the use of borewells that are capable of extracting water at greater depth. The number of ponds has declined from 87 lakh to 82 lakh in a span of 4 years. The latest addition of the minor irrigation census (MIC), a compendium of borewell, tubewell, and other privately owned irrigation sources by farmers, conducted by the Union Jal Shakti Ministry, finds that electricity is the dominant source of power to extract water over diesel and wind and solar energy, while the use of electricity showed a quantum jump from powering only 56% of sources in 2011 to 70% in 2017. The latest report made public last week shows it as powering 76% of sources, a slower growth rate. Past trends: the MIC reports are not a reflection of the present state of use. The data made public in the latest sixth edition of the report reflect irrigation trends in 2017-18. Similarly, the report released in 2017 or fifth edition reflect data in 2013-14, and the report of 2011 the situation in 2006 and 7, collecting granular data block down to the block level and making it public takes a few years. This electrification of groundwater withdrawal corresponds to a rise in the use of tube wells and the borewells that are capable of extracting water at a greater depth. While dog wells or ponds that can draw water from a maximum depth of 15 meters remain the dominant source of groundwater, their numbers has declined from 87 lakh to 82 lakh between the fifth and sixth edition. The number of shallow tube wells capable of drawing water from up to 35 meters who have declined from 59 lakh to 55 lakh. However, medium-sized wells capable of withdrawing water from up to 70 meters grew from 31 lakh to 43 lakh, and deep wells beyond 70 meters rose from 26 lakhs to 37 lakhs. While excessive groundwater withdrawal has been a matter of long-standing concern, the report does not discuss the cause for the increase of more powerful deep-reaching tubewells. The groundwater situation varies across the country. The state governments announce schemes giving farmers incentives or access to loans to buy such tubewells, so that could be an explanation. However, the lower growth in electrification is also likely to be a result of greater emphasis on energy efficient water extraction. A government officer familiar with the census but who declined to be identified told the Hindu. Overall, 23.14 million minor irrigation schemes were reported in the country from 695 districts and 6,47,394 villages. Out of all MI schemes, 21.93 million, 94.8% were for groundwater, and 1.21 million, 5.2% for the surface water extraction. UP in the lead. Uttar Pradesh had the largest number of MI schemes in the country, 17.2%, followed by Maharashtra 15.4%, Madhya Pradesh 9.9%, and Tamil Nadu 9.1%. Leading states in groundwater schemes in Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Telangana. Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana, Odisha, and Jharkhand have the highest share in the surface water schemes. The number of MI schemes increased by about 1.42 million between the fifth and sixth edition. Most of the schemes, 96.6%, were privately owned, and small and marginal farmers having less than 2 hectares of land owned the majority of them. And next जो है प्रज्ञा completed its task, rover safely parked and set into sleep mode, says ISRO. The Indian Space Research Organization said on Saturday night that Chandrayaan-3's rover Pragya had completed its assignments and it had been safely parked and set into sleep mode. Chandrayaan-3 mission. The rover completed its assignment. It is now safely parked and set into sleep mode. APXS and LIBPS payloads are turned off. Data from these payloads is transmitted to the Earth via the lander. The space agency posted on X, formerly Twitter. The battery is fully charged and the solar panel is oriented to receive the light at the next sunrise expected on September 22. It added, hoping for a successful awakening for the another set of assignment, else it will forever stay there as India's lunar ambassador. Okay. The ISRO posted. The Chandrayaan-3's rover Pragya has traversed over 100 meters from the lander Vikram on the surface of the moon. The next जो आर्टिकल है वह है ओवर half of Sri Lankan people vulnerable according to UNDP. half of Sri Lankan people are vulnerable according to UNDP. More than 12 million out of Sri Lanka's 22.16 million strong population are facing challenges in education, health, and living standard as a result of economic crisis. Okay. The crossing economic crisis in Sri Lanka last year has left more than half of the island's population multi-dimensionally vulnerable, according to a national citizens survey led by the United Nations Development Programme (UNDP). The study spanning the years 2022 and 23 and covering 25,000 households across the country found 55.7% of the population to be vulnerable across three dimensions: education, health, and disaster, living standard, and 12 indicators including school attendance, physical condition of health, unemployment, and debate, indebtedness. In effect, the survey showed that 12.34 million people out of Sri Lanka's 22.16 million strong population have been badly affected by the crisis and remain vulnerable. And amid claims of a recovering economy, the findings are in line with earlier research by UN Agency on Food insecurity level and reaffirm anecdotal accounts of poor families cutting down their food intake and pulling their children out of school to cope with the high living cost. The findings of UNDP's study, carried out in partnership with the Chitra Social Innovation Lab and anchored at the Prime Minister's office, assume significance, especially after the government rejected a UNICEF report that pointed to high malnutrition level among Sri Lankan children last year. Notably, the recently launched UNDP report said a majority of 82% of these found to be multidimensionally vulnerable, lived in rural Sri Lanka, and underscored the need for more policy focus in those areas. Further, the study found a third of the country's population getting into debt for essential needs like food, medical care, and education, as well as owning jewelry or selling items. Several districts exhibit notable multidimensional vulnerability values, with over 65% of their population identified as vulnerable, the report said, indicating that people living in the island's Tamil majority, north and east, impacted by the civil war, and the economically marginalized Malaya Tamil community are among those facing the highest level of economic deprivations. Capital Colombo, and neighboring Gampha district emerge as a region with the highest concentration of vulnerable individuals, a trend that the study attribute to their substantial population sizes. Road to recovery: last year financial meltdown pushed Sri Lanka to bankruptcy and brought its citizens to the streets as they contended with acute shortage, long power cuts, and a dramatic increase in prices. A year after defaulting on its foreign debt, in the wake up of a stifling balance of payments problem, the government obtained International Monetary Fund support in March 2023 by way of a $3 billion package, while President Ranil Wickremesinghe has pledged to set the country's economy on a path of recovery. His government is struggling to reach an agreement with its external creditors. Colombo must finalize a debt treatment plan before the IMF's scheduled review this month as the second tranche of the IMF loan is contingent on it. Further, the government recently announced its decision to restructure its domestic debt mainly by recasting the outgo on the country's pension fund. Worker unions are fiercely opposing the move, citing its likely impact on employees' life saving. In a recent letter to the IMF organization and the trade unions said subjecting workers' pension funds to domestic debt restructuring will diminish the returns to wage earners and deplete the fund to half its current value. Your debt restructuring program is crippling working people in Sri Lanka who run our economy and create a value in our society. The economic reform you have imposed on us without reflecting on the negative consequences of the previous reforms enacted over 16 IMF interventions are crushing our economy, they told the fund. Meanwhile, central bank data showed a further slowdown in headline inflation in August, dropping to 4% from 6.3% recorded last month, but the numbers are yet to translate to any relief for most citizens. The government, in adherence to the IMF program, recently began making cash transfer to 1.5 million families out of 2 million it has identified as poor and eligible. Many more families are protesting, asking to be included on the list. However, women's groups and government critics argue that a targeted social security program amounting to 0.6% of the GDP will prove grossly inadequate to combat the economic strain. तो लास्ट आज का जो आर्टिकल है, यूजिंग एआई ऑन एक्सरेज कैन डिटेक्ट मोर टीबी cases. In AI assisted chest X-ray, India has a powerful technology to screen for presumptive TB. The AI algorithm QXR, developed by Mumbai-based Cure.ai, can help detect people with presumptive TB early and in less than a minute. In 2019 and 21 National TB Prevalence Survey in India report said nearly 43% of TB cases would have been missed without a chest X-ray. When used at scale for population-based screening or for targeted screening, QXR plus molecular test for TB confirmation can increase detection rates. Awaiting a node, systematic screening for TB for early diagnosis is an important end-TB strategy. The Indian drug regulator cleared QXR a few months ago. QXR also meets the WHO requirement with less than 90% sensitivity and less than 70% specificity in people over than 15 years. States are currently waiting on a central TB division directive to adopt QXR, which could encourage widespread adoption. The absence of policy guidance has kept adoption thus far. The Central TB Division is waiting for an approval from the Health Technology Assessment. India's ambitious goal of eliminating TB by 2025 will remain possible only if early diagnosis and initiation of care for millions of people with TB becomes a reality. Large-scale use of AI-assisted chest X-ray for screening is the first step to achieve this goal. In Vietnam, a community-wide screening of people older than 15 years using a molecular test in 2014-17 resulted in lower prevalence of pulmonary TB in 2018 than standard passive case detection alone. Unlike in Vietnam, the use of QXR to read digital X-ray before molecular testing as part of community screening with reduced TB prevalence and minimize the number of molecular tests required to detect TB. The QXR algorithm is already being used in over 50 countries. In India, 24 states are using QXR at about 150 sites. But now here in India is the software used at scale, and in some states the QXR software is used in just one site like in Kerala, says Dr. Sibu Vijayan, Medical Director Global Health at Cure.ai. A digital solution that is not at scale will not make any impact. Around 6 outreach mobile vans in Chennai use QXR, 9 government hospitals and one mobile van in Mumbai are equipped with software for surveillance. As of December 2022, over 1 lakh X-rays from the 9 Mumbai hospitals were screened for TB. Dr. Vijayan said an assessment in a few select facilities revealed 30% of people diagnosed with TB were not from TB referral X-rays. These were routine X-rays taken for purposes other than TB diagnosis, meaning the exercise helped detect 13% additional TB cases. The use of QXR to screen the X-rays increased the positivity of molecular test by 18 to 27%. Cure.ai partnered with MyLab Discovery Solutions to use QXR in MyLab's portable chest X-ray device, MyBean. This will help screen for presumptive TB cases in rural areas. Our portable device cuts the amount of X-ray exposure to 1/20th to 1/30th of a normal X-ray even while capturing all the details, says Saurabh Gupta, Head of Digital and Public Health at MyLab Pune. So this is all for today, and we will meet from tomorrow onwards. Till then, thank you. Thank you, everyone.